What's up, guys? Today we're going to be testing out brand new spring makeup releases. I am so excited for these, even though it's still freezing cold here in New England. I like to think that spring is right around the corner. Hopefully it is. And if you like honest makeup reviews and unsponsored beauty content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. All right, guys, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do my eyes first. I'm not sure if there's going to be any fallout with this palette. So this is the new Too Faced Italian Spritz palette. And I kind of swore off Too Faced palettes for a little while. The quality seemed to start going downhill and they just kept coming up with the same old themes over and over again, like chocolate and gingerbread, and I was a little sick of it. But when I saw this palette, I thought it was really something a little different and a little bit more unique for them. They did put it back in the tin packaging, which I think everybody really loved. For a while there, they went back to cardboard and I wasn't a fan of that. I like their tin packaging. And this has such a cute theme. It says, transport yourself to Lake Como, Italy without the airfare with this sparkling, fresh eyeshadow palette inspired by our favorite summer cocktail. The names of the shades are all Italian inspired. The theme is just so super cute. It really gets me in the mood for spring. And the formula actually feels really good. When I went to swatch this, I thought that most of the shades swatched really nicely. The shimmer shades picked up well, which I feel like they haven't been doing in their palettes lately. So I was happy to see a more rich and creamy shimmer formula for the most part. And I felt like most of the mattes swatched pretty good as well. So I'm excited to see how these actually perform on my eyes. And also, this is supposed to have a scent. It's supposed to smell like the Italian Spritz cocktail. To me, it kind of smells like the Sweet Peach palette. I don't really know that it smells like a cocktail. It is very fruity, but also it's a little bit more on the subtle side. I don't feel like this kind of smacks you in the face like the chocolate ones where they're really super strong. So it's just a really subtle, sweet, fruity scent. So I like this. Again, I think it's a little bit more of a colorful palette than I normally am used to. There are a couple of neutrals sprinkled in, but I think for the most part, it's more colorful than it is neutral. And that's sort of the reverse of what they normally do. Usually it's mostly neutrals with like a pop of blue or a pop of pink or something like that. So I like that it's something a little bit different, and I'm definitely going to go outside of my comfort zone a little bit with this. So I think I'm going to start out with the shade Holy Cannoli, which is this one right up here on the top. And I'm going to use my Jen Phelps blending brush, and I'm just going to apply this to my crease and work it up a little bit toward the brow bone. And it seems really nicely pigmented. It's blending out beautifully and it's gripping to my skin really well too, which is great. I'm in such a spring mood today. If you couldn't tell from like my outfit and everything, I just got this dress at Old Navy. And even though it's too cold to wear it outside, I was trying it on this morning and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wear it today in the video because by the time I do get to wear it, it's probably not even gonna be available anymore. And I always get questions down in the comments like, what top am I wearing or whatever. And I like to be able to at least link something so that you guys can get it if you want it. And I always feel bad when I wear older stuff that you guys can't get anymore. So I just want to show you what this dress looks like because I think it is adorable. It's a wrap style dress and it's a true wrap. So it's not like one of the fake ones. You actually do wrap it around and you can tighten it. And I like the style on me because I'm more bottom heavy and it just accentuates the smallest part of me at my waist. If you guys remember What Not to Wear, Stacey and Clinton always used to say that, but it's so true. And then the bottom flares out. So anyway, next I think I'm going to try this pink shade here, When in Rome. I'm gonna put this on the outer corner of my eye. I'm just using the same brush and I'm just gonna kind of apply this a little bit more into the crease, and I'm not gonna blend it up quite as far. This shade is also applying beautifully. This is like the Too Faced formula that I know and love from before, at least so far. I'm probably getting a little ahead of myself here. I've literally only used 2 shades and I'm already saying it's a great palette. So let's walk that back a little bit. So far, it seems to be really good. Next, I think I'm just gonna add a little bit of this shade right here, Capri Fun. Remember those Capri Sun drinks? All my friends always had them and I would always get milk and I would beg my mother for those and she was like, no, they're too sugary. They're gonna rot your teeth. And then every once in a while I would get it as a treat. And now when I try to get those for my son, he's like, no, I want milk. He only drinks milk for some reason. He is not into sugary drinks at all. Not that I'm complaining. I think that's great, but it's just too funny because I would have killed to have those in school and he's just like, nah, I don't want it. I think my eyes are looking very rainbow sherbet right now, but I love it. I think this performed so well so far. I think I'm gonna grab next the shade Mamma Mia. I'm not gonna use any neutrals today. I'm just gonna go for all colors. So this is gonna be my deep in the outer corner shade. I'm just gonna use my Jen Phelps flat brush right on the outer lid. This shade didn't swatch the best, but it's applying really nicely, and that's what counts. Then I'm just gonna blend it out a little with the crease brush. By the way, my brush set is still available on the Doll 10 website, and you can use my code to save 15% off as well. So I'll leave all of that info down below. I know in a recent video, I said that I mostly wear colorful eyeshadow just on video, and I don't wear it in my real life. And this is one of those situations where I will have to wear it in real life because right after this, I have to take my husband to the doctor. So once in a while, I do wear color out. I think it's just a rare thing, at least where I live. I kind of live like out in the country, and there just aren't a lot of people wearing a lot of makeup around here. Everybody keeps it like very simple, very neutral. So you definitely tend to stand out if you wear a little bit more makeup. All right, now we're really gonna get colorful. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this Lake Como shade right here to the rest of my lid. And I'm just gonna apply the NYX Glitter Primer. This shade feels kind of like maybe a topper, so this should help it grip a little bit better and also pop more. And then I'm just gonna apply this with my finger. Yeah, this definitely makes it more intense. This is such a beautiful color. I rarely wear blue on my eyes, but this is a colorful palette, so I don't want to just use the neutrals. I really like how the blue blends into that burgundy shade on the outer corner. It makes like a purple. It's really pretty. All right, and then I'm just going to continue that burgundy shade, Mamma Mia, down on my lower lash line, just keeping it more toward the outer corner. And then I'm going to take the brighter pink, When in Rome, and continue it along my lash line. All right, so this was actually really fun. I'm impressed with this palette. I think it's the best palette Too Faced has come out with in a long time, especially if you like color, if you're a fan of color, if you like neutrals and mostly wear neutrals, then I don't know if this palette is gonna have enough neutrals to create a lot of neutral looks. Most of what you're gonna create with this palette is gonna be a little bit more colorful, so that's just something to keep in mind. It's also $54, which I think is about $5 more than what they used to charge for palettes. I wanna say they used to be $49, and they've definitely gone up in price. I hear a lot of people complaining about drugstore prices going up. I think high-end prices are also going up a lot, but it's just not as noticeable because these are already expensive, so it's kind of like, what's $5 more? But on a drugstore product, that's $10 and jumps to $15, or it's $15 and jumps to $20. That seems like a lot more, but I think everything is going up these days. So if this is not in your budget, I just want to quickly show you a couple of other similar palettes that I have in my collection that are similar. So the first one is the Festy Bestie palette from LA Girl. I think these are incredibly similar. I'll just show you guys a close-up. This has a lot of the same colors in it. You have the oranges and the gold, the bright pink, the pop of blue. The Festy Bestie palette also has green, which the Too Faced doesn't have, but if you cover up the greens, it has all of the same tones in it otherwise, so you're not gonna get every single shade, and it's not an exact dupe, but I think you can get very similar colorful looks out of this palette, and I think the formula is really good. LA Girl always does an incredible job with their eyeshadows. Another one that I think also could be kind of close is the Profusion Ethereal palette. Now this one doesn't really have all of the oranges that are in the Too Faced palette. It does have a peachy shade, but it does have the purple, some of those bronzy neutrals, the blues, and the pink. So again, it's definitely not going to be an exact dupe or an exact match, but it does have a very similar springtime vibe to it. Another palette that I don't have in my collection, but I was looking online and I thought that this one looked really similar as well, is the ColourPop Barbie palette, which I think is still available. This one looks really, really close. I wish that I had it to be able to swatch next to the Too Faced for you guys, but I think just at a glance, looking at the photos, this gives extremely similar vibes to the Too Faced. So those are just a few affordable options to check out, but Too Faced does have sales routinely on their palettes after they've been out for a little while, so if you don't mind waiting, you could probably catch this on sale in a couple of months. So moving on, let's try a new mascara. This is the new Maybelline Falsies Surreal Mascara. I got this at Target. I haven't seen it anywhere else at the moment. On the website, this says it's supposed to give your lashes 36% more length and 10 times the volume. It has hybrid fiber technology. It's a mix of different fibers of different sizes, up to 3 millimeters. And it's also supposed to be clump resistant and smudge, flake, and smear resistant. So I'm really curious about this one. I love testing out new mascaras, and I typically have pretty good luck with Maybelline, so let's check it out. I feel like this brush is a little bit bigger than I normally would like. It makes me nervous that I'm gonna poke, like especially the inner corner of my eye with the brush. The formula feels a little bit sticky. It almost feels like a mascara that's been open for a while, like it's already partially dried out. And I'm not saying that in a bad way because I usually like mascaras better after they've dried out a little bit, so that's not really a bad thing. It also seems to be building up pretty quickly, but as I'm building it, my lashes are also starting to stick together and get a little bit clumpy, so I think you have to be careful with this one not to apply too much. And this also dries extremely fast, so like this is already dry. I can't really add any more at this point. So here's one eye versus the other. I definitely think it gives quite a bit of length and a lot of volume. Okay, so here's both eyes done. Again, I just think that the sticky, more dried out formula is going to cause a little bit of problems when it comes to clumping. Just be very careful. I mean, I think because it dries so fast, it doesn't really allow you to apply that many coats or go too crazy, but it might be a good idea just to have a lash comb nearby to help comb out the clumps, because I don't think this brush is the best at doing that. It's a little bit more of a fluffy brush, so it doesn't have like those spiky bristles that really help to kind of separate your lashes. But I do really like the false lash look that it gives, so I'll have to update you guys down below and let you know if this smudges at the end of the day. Hopefully it doesn't. Next up for foundation, I'm going to be using the new Makeup Forever HD Skin Matte Velvet Powder Foundation. They did send this to me in PR. I got a couple different shades, and I think the shade I'm going to use today is 1R12. I think that's actually the shade that I am in their liquid foundation, and I really love that one so much. If you guys saw my like best of makeup video that I posted last Sunday, that is definitely one of my favorite foundations right now, so I'm excited to try the powder version. I do like using powder foundations in the summertime, even though I have dry skin, because in the summer I'm more of like a normal skin type, and a powder foundation just feels a little bit lighter than a liquid, especially on hot, humid days. So it does come with a sponge in the compact, and the sponge has two different sides. It has a really soft, fluffy side, and then another side that feels a little bit just more like a spongy texture. And this claims to be a lightweight, medium to full coverage powder foundation that blurs the look of imperfections and mattifies for up to 24 hours for a natural, real skin finish. So let's see how this goes. I'm going to apply it with the soft, fuzzy side of the sponge. And on their website, this has like 4.5 out of 5 stars, so I'm hoping for the best. I did read a couple of their reviews, and I didn't want to read too many because I don't want it to influence how I feel about it. But I did find it interesting that most of the reviews that I saw were those incentivized reviews where somebody gets the product sent for free. And those were largely positive, but the ones that were not incentivized, because you can filter on the Sephora website to just read regular reviews where they weren't sent the product for free, and most of those were actually very negative. There were a lot of like 1 and 2 star ratings. So I thought that was interesting, and I'm not by any means saying that people who receive the product for free from places like Influencer are going to lie necessarily, but I think when you don't spend your hard-earned money on a product, like this is $43, which is not cheap. So if you're not spending your money on it, I feel like you can be a little bit more forgiving and maybe not quite as critical, even if you don't really mean to be. I can remember when I was first starting out, when I was blogging and I was on Instagram, like even before YouTube, when companies would send me things for free, it was just, I was so excited. As a smaller influencer, I didn't have the money to go out and buy all the products that I wanted, and I really wanted to stay on PR lists and keep the products coming. So I can definitely understand being way less harsh with reviews in that type of situation. But anyway, this side of my face is done, and this side is without the foundation, and I think it actually does give really nice coverage. I wouldn't call this full. I would say it's like more of a medium coverage. I can still see my dark spots poking through over here, but it did hide the redness really well. But it does seem to have a really natural, very skin-like finish. It doesn't look powdery or cakey. So I'll show you guys a close-up once I've done my entire face. But anyway, I'm kind of surprised that these companies want to do all of these incentivized reviews. It makes me feel like they care more about the rating on the website than they do about actual feedback. If the product has a better rating, you're going to get a lot more people who just kind of trust that and say like, oh wow, this looks really highly rated. They read a couple of reviews, but they don't really dig that far into it. And then they just blindly buy the product. I don't know, these days it just seems like companies are more interested in appearances and how things look than getting actual feedback or criticism. So that's kind of sad. All right, so let me just give you guys a zoomed in look at my face. And I have to say, I really really like this. This is beautiful. I don't think it makes my face look dry at all. Granted, I did exfoliate this morning and I moisturized well, but I think it did a good job at evening out my skin tone. I think the color is pretty good. I wouldn't say that it has necessarily a pink undertone, but I also don't find it to be super yellow on me. It's more of a neutral, but I really do like the way that this looks. It looks flawless on my skin. It's not clinging to dry patches or settling into fine lines like a liquid would. So I think this is going to be even better in the summertime because my skin is really dry right now, and heading into the warm weather, it won't be. But again, if $43 isn't in your budget and you would like to try a really good smoothing powder foundation for dry skin, I recommend this one from CoverGirl. I know I talk about this a lot on my channel, but it's my favorite powder foundation. And this one actually, whoa, the sponge just fell out. This one reminds me a lot of this. So I have the CoverGirl one in the shade Classic Ivory. I also like to apply this with the sponge. I just feel like it gives the best result. It gives more coverage than if you use it with a brush. And this powder just looks very smoothing on the skin, even close up. I do have an entire video about it that I did like 2 years ago now. It's hard to believe that was 2 years ago, but if you want to check that out, I also have close-ups of my skin with this, and I feel like it looks just as smooth as the Makeup Forever one. So this is a good one to check out on a budget. I also recommend buying it at some place like Target versus Ulta, because I think this was like almost $20 at Ulta. And when I linked there the first time I was reviewing this, people were like, why is it so expensive? And then I found it at Target and it was like 11 or 12 bucks. It's a lot cheaper there. So definitely shop around because drugstore prices can vary all over the place. All right, so just quickly, I'm going to add a little bit of bronzer. I don't have a new bronzer to try, but I'm going to use the Flower Beauty Heatwave bronzer in the shade Sunrise. This is one of my absolute favorite bronzers. I talked about it again in that favorites video from last Sunday. It has a really beautiful pink undertone if you have a skin tone similar to mine, and it just tends to look really natural. It does have a little bit of a glow to it too, so it gives just a little bit of radiance to my dry skin, which I like. Unfortunately, I think this bronzer is sold out almost everywhere. I tried to link it for that video a few days ago, and Ulta didn't have it in stock, and CVS also didn't have this particular shade in stock, but I just bought this one in store at CVS because I needed a backup. My other one was really old, so you might be able to find it that way. I've actually been getting a lot of questions about Flower Beauty from people asking like what's going on with them because their website's been down for a while. And Drew Barrymore actually posted a note on the website and also on her socials, and she talked about how they're revamping the brand, and it looks like they're going to keep beauty, but they're also going to kind of turn into more of a lifestyle brand. So I really don't know what to expect. I don't know if she's talking about expanding into like clothing and jewelry and that kind of stuff, or like bath and body and hair, like if she's going to be sticking in the beauty space. I don't know, but they're definitely making some big changes over at Flower Beauty, and I guess it's taking them a while, so that's why the website's been down. I just hope that they don't discontinue some of our favorite products like these because they have so many good things, and I would be so disappointed if we couldn't get them anymore. Okay, now that we're all bronzed up, let's talk about this palette. This is brand new from Iconic London, and this is the multi-use lip and cheek palette. This looked so pretty, and I really don't have a lot of things from Iconic London, so I've been wanting to try some stuff out, and this has 6 shades that you can use on both your lips and your cheeks. I thought this looked really pretty. Let me show you guys a close-up and some swatches. This says it has multi-use dewy cream shades, an easy-to-use palette that provides instant pick-me-up to the complexion. And it says it creates a dreamy veil of blush. You can use your fingers, beauty sponge, or preferred brush. And then you can also apply it with your fingers on your lips to blend out or use a lip brush. So I generally don't use palettes like this for my lips just because I'm normally applying my lip color on the go. I like to keep products in my purse. For touch-ups, generally the types of lip products I wear off pretty quickly, so I'm always having to touch them up. And taking a palette like this in my purse is just not practical most of the time, so I generally will probably use this for my cheeks. But let's see, what color do I want to use? I kind of like the look of this one. It looks really spring-like. It looks like it might kind of go well with my eye look. So let's see. These feel very thin and very lightweight. Ooh, that's pretty. It is very thin. It's really like a weightless formula. It almost feels like nothing, actually. It melts right into your skin and it doesn't feel sticky or tacky. It dries right to a powder. And even though I'm wearing a powder foundation, it doesn't seem to be messing with it at all, especially if I just apply it with a patting motion versus swiping it on. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. It's just very melty, like it just melts right into my skin. So if I were to look at this up close, you wouldn't even be able to see blush. It just looks like it's coming from within my skin. I'm gonna grab the same shade that I started with on my cheeks first. I'm just gonna pat this in. I do actually have lip balm on anyway, so I'm just putting this on top of that. On top of the lip balm, it actually feels fine. It doesn't feel dry at all. And this is a nice way to kind of coordinate your lips with your cheeks. So far, I really like this a lot. I love the formula. It's beautiful. I think it remains to be seen how long they last on the cheeks, but again, I'll update you down below. And this is a $49 palette, so if it's not in your budget, I just want to show you something really quickly that you can get at the drugstore that's similar, and that is this one from Pixie Beauty. This I've talked about a lot on my channel, mostly over the summer, and I think the summer before that, I was also raving about it. I think I usually pull this out in the summer because I bring it on travel with me. It's a flatter compact that fits right in my makeup bag or my suitcase, and because it's not powdered, I don't have to worry about these breaking. And I literally have, like, how many are in here? 25 different shades of blush, and you can also use these as lipsticks too. So it's a very similar concept to the iconic London, and you have just about every shade you can imagine in here, from pinks to neutrals to reds. Some of them look like they repeat a little bit, but I don't mind because the pan sizes here are pretty small. So if you hit pan on one shade, there's probably another similar one in the palette that you can just use instead. And these also have a really nice texture. I don't think they're quite as thin as the iconic London, but they also dry down to a powdery finish. They're not sticky or tacky feeling, and I think they blend out beautifully. So I want to say the Pixie one is around $20, so it's less than half the price of the iconic London one. If you're interested, definitely check this out. It is still available. I saw it at Target the other day, so this has been my favorite cream blush palette by far. And then for lips, I got a new product from Stila. This is the Calligraphy Lip Stain, and I thought these looked really kind of interesting and unique. I'm not normally a lip stain person, but I do use them every once in a while. So this claims to be a lip stain that softly coats lips in sheer lightweight, buildable, pout perfect pops of color. It has a two-way blade-like tip that can be used on point for definition or on the flat edge for more full coverage. It also claims to be a non-drying, lightweight formula that stays throughout the day while subtly fading to a natural wash of color. So I got the shade Ariana because it looked like the most natural shade. I'll show you on the Ulta website. I mean, you honestly cannot go by these. Ariana looked like a light, soft, peachy pink. And even in the arm swatches, it was the lightest color. And then I get it home and I open it up and the stripe around the tube is bright orange. And I'm like, what is this? Did I get the wrong shade? What's going on? And the actual product itself is like a bright orange color. So as somebody who's not really a fan of wearing bright lip products, I was a little bit disappointed, but I think what I'm gonna do today is do like an ombre effect where I put the lip stain in the inner portion of my lips and then just kind of fade it out. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just going to use the flat tip of the brush to do it. All right, so then once I do that, I usually like to apply a gloss on top. So I got another shade of the NYX Fat Oil because I love these. These are amazing. This is the shade Follow Back, and it's more of a nude color. So I'm just going to put this on top. All right, so this is a little bit on the bright side. Hopefully it's not too much with my brighter eye look going on. Usually if I do a brighter lip, I like to keep my eyes a little bit more neutral, but I will say I do really like the shape of this lip product. I like that flat edge. It just made it super simple to get the inner rim of my lip versus like one of those markers or something that has a doe foot applicator. But on the negative side, I did feel like it kind of ran out of ink. I did my bottom lip first, and then when I was going to the top lip, I felt like I had to keep shaking it and going like this just to get the more ink down into the tip because it seemed like it kept running out, especially when I was holding it this way. But again, I'll have to let you guys know how long this lasts throughout the day. I am going to be eating lunch in a few minutes and we'll see how it holds up through that. So fingers crossed, if you are looking for a more affordable lip stain, there aren't too many out there at the moment. I know Sephora Collection used to have lip markers that were really good, but I don't think they have them anymore. I know that e.l.f. has their glossy lip stain, which isn't quite a traditional lip stain like this. It has a little bit more weight to it. This is the kind that really just feels like a marker. The e.l.f. one is a little bit thicker and it's more of a hybrid stain and a gloss. Flower Beauty also has some lip stains that I really like as well. So that could also be another option to check out. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of these products down below. Are you thinking about trying anything? I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments as always. And I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today and watching this video. I really, really appreciate it. And if you have some time and you'd like to stick around on my channel for a while, I'll go ahead and put another playlist right here for you to check out next. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye.